Good morning or afternoon. Good afternoon. It is Sunday, August 5th, 2018. We are the Bitter Knitters TV Attack Edition. My name is Jacqueline and Justin's here.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going okay.
Good, good. TV this week, I guess we watched.
I watched a ton. That's all I ever watched.
This week on Nashville. Oh.
Don't remind me.
Sorry.
I get the Nashville sads too, just like I read on a website. Somebody said they get the Nashville sads. I do too.
Oh, I did see that. I think we probably read the same thing.
Yeah, it was sad.
So let's talk about some news, and we'll talk about a couple of different shows. First one is looks like reboot fever is still in the air. We talk about new reboots pretty much every single week. There's more news in the news about reboots, and I'm so sick of them. So this week, they announced two possible ones, one including The Facts of Life.
Yeah, produced by Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Biel. Jessica Biel, that's her name.
I'd rather watch that. Yeah. So the original show aired from 79 to 88, and you were a big fan of it, right?
I was a Facts of Life girl. I loved it. I watched. That was one of the few sitcoms I tried to watch. Now, granted, we didn't have DVRs or the internet, so, I probably haven't seen every episode, because if you missed a week, you missed it.
We were completely different. Like, you'd have to wait for a rerun.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you miss the reruns. So... yeah, I loved Facts of Life. I thought it told some interesting stories, and it was funny, and it was heartwarming. And I remember back in the 80s, like, a big story was Natalie losing her virginity. And I mean, we're talking about the early to, mid 80s, and that was a little shocking at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you think you could update that for modern audience? Do you think it would work?
Possibly. I think the problem now is, like, girls are a lot more bitchy now, and most of them, not all of them, they're not quite as naive as the Facts of Life girls. I think, a sheltered life, part of the thing is they were sheltered because they were at a private school, and yeah, they could call their parents on the phone, but now you can keep in touch with your friends, your family, everybody on your cell phone, anywhere you go, Snapchat, Instagram, everything. So I don't think it'd be quite the same show.
Yeah, they would have to, I think, change it a little bit, but it'd be interesting just because
I would watch 100%. Mrs. Garrett better come back, or Natalie has to be the Mrs. Garrett.
I feel like Natalie being the Mrs. Garrett would probably be more likely because the real Mrs. Garrett is very old.
She's kind of kooky too. She says some crazy outlandish shit. She might Roseanne herself.
Wasn't she really sick a while back too?
I think so, but I think she beat it from what I remember.
Wow. I could see maybe Natalie and Tootie teaming up to be the new Mrs. Garretts.
Maybe they're together as a couple.
That works. I guess she wasn't satisfied when she lost her virginity.
Well, I mean, the guy she lost it to was also the guy who took Jennifer Jason Leigh's virginity in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he wasn't very nice about it.
So that was pretty much like his role in the 80s. Yeah, was just being cast as guys.
Sleazeball. Yeah, he was like one of those like virginity. Well, he was nice for Natalie. His name was Snake, and she met him on the construction site.
Wow.
And he was nice. I know too much about this. This is very sad. But that was his role, was taking young girls' virginities.
Is that on his resume?
Yeah. What do they call those? They're reels.
Yes.
Him on top of some random 80s girl.
Like 8 of them. Like, so that was your sole job, was to take virginities of characters? Yes. You know whose virginity he probably didn't take in the 80s? Joe's.
She took his.
I was going to say Alf.
Oh, or Alf.
Or Alf, because I do like Joe is a better answer, though. Because Alf is the other reboot rumor going around this week, is that they want to bring back Alf. And my response to that is, nah, I'm good.
I wasn't really an Alf fan. I mean, I've seen a few episodes here and there, but it really wasn't my thing. I don't know if... I mean, I wasn't too old. I was a teenager. I just didn't really care for it, I guess.
I feel like I mean, I was 10 when it went off the air, so I was still fairly young. And I feel like as a kid, I liked the concept. Look, it's a puppet more than the show itself. Is the few times I tried watching as a kid, it bored me. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But the idea of he's got this puppet living with the family, like, I kind of like that idea.
Look, we had the Best Aliens Living on Earth show a few years back, and they canceled it cruelly. And I just don't want to see any more aliens living on Earth sitcoms.
Unless they brought back The Neighbors.
The Neighbors is the show we're talking about.
Oh, God, imagine a teenage dick butt kiss.
Yes, that's who I thought I saw. I was watching a show and I'm like, no. I was watching a show and I'm like, this guy looks so familiar, and I couldn't figure out who he was. And I tried to search, but I couldn't find out who it was. But maybe it was what was this? Reggie Lee, what was his name?
Oh,
Reggie Jackson?
Yeah.
The son, the other son. Yeah, maybe it was him.
I think he was in something recently.
Yeah, that YouTube show I told you I watched with Nicole Byer.
Oh, yeah. What was the name of that?
Fast Food High. If you want to watch something really dumb and kind of amusing, watch Fast Food High. It's just like maybe 5 or 6 episodes on YouTube. It's funny.
Fast Food High.
Yeah. Heights. Fast Food Heights.
Fast Food Fights?
Heights. Like Heights. In the Heights.
Sounds awful.
It's funny.
Or dip butt kiss. Where is he today?
I don't know. Maybe like going to school like a normal boy.
Hopefully.
Or whatever.
Whatever dip butt kiss was. I still haven't quite figured it out.
Alien life form.
He was perfect as like a weird alien creature.
Yes, that's such a good show.
But I feel like the ship has sailed on Alf, but I feel like it would be easy to adapt for modern times. I mean, you don't need to do much. It would work. I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. No, I don't, maybe too kitschy, And I mean, just to look at that puppet of Elf is so 80s. I just can't imagine that. I mean, maybe some people our age, between our age, would want to watch it, but I can't imagine millennials or that coveted target age is going to really want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to say the most 90s sentence ever. Alf's back in Pog form. I just did Scott Rogowski and quoted Simpsons. Now, the last question I have about Alf is, do they update the puppet or do they keep the same puppet that hasn't really changed since the show?
I mean, if you updated the puppet, there'd be outrage. But if you didn't update it, it would look horrible. My bigger concern is he still eating cats? Because PETA would be all over him.
Yeah, that's true. They would have to probably change that. But yeah, I feel like whenever you have like something from the 80s being updated, there is outrage. There's the Thundercats, which I was outraged about. That looks awful.
Gem.
And then the recent one is the She-Ra. When they showed the concept art or the first footage of She-Ra, which is new, Netflix is bringing back, there were people that were like so upset over the new She-Ra because she was fully clothed. They're like, how dare She-Ra be fully clothed from?
How dare we don't, sexualize one of our superheroes?
Yeah, that seemed to be the main issue, was the fact that she was fully.
What's next? Emma Frost wearing clothes?
No. I mean, I thought the She-Ra looked awful, but it was because the animation to me was bad. But I feel like animation has evolved a lot since I was a kid, and it's bad. I don't like the current way. I
like new anime. This is the thing, because I'm a 70s and 80s kid. I grew up on Flintstones and Scooby-Doo and Gem, and I like that kind of animation. Yeah. So when I see, like, even the South Park opening, when it got all 3D-ish, that made me angry.
I didn't like that.
It made me angry. Sister Patty says, where are her boobs? I guess they took She-Ra's boobs away, too.
Well, that's part of it, when they fully clothed. I mean, they totally desexualized everything about She-Ra, and not that I was a kid having fantasies about She-Ra.
Because you were after that little puppet guy.
No, I liked Orko and He-Man. No, joking.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of Orko.
Orko, that puppet guy.
He always hit at the end of the episode. You had to find him. Yeah.
Yes, that was my favorite thing as a kid. I was probably a little too young at the time to be awakened sexually by She-Ra, but I did watch it as a kid.
that was Belle from Beauty and the Beast job.
Yeah.
You didn't deny it.
And a little bit of Marge Simpson. I'm joking.
That I don't doubt.
The fact that I thought of her name so fast. No.
Cartman's mom. Cartman's mom.
Technically Cartman's dad? Yeah. Or didn't they like rewrite that and claim
I think
that?
They did.
I don't know what they did. But or she was the dad and someone else was. I don't know what they did. But yeah. South Park's coming back. I think next month. It'll be interesting to see because the last couple seasons I haven't really been feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So one other thing I've been interested in going forward is seeing what becomes of the Fox network, because Fox is in a way in a place where they're going to kind of lose their production arm when it gets sold to Disney. Fox network will not be owned by Disney, but all like the production companies that would produce shows for Fox will be under Disney. So a lot of people are like, what's going to happen with Fox? Are they just going to start their own production company? Are they going to continue buying from outside production companies? Are they just going to go mainly to
the network is not producing anything anymore, is what
Correct.
You're saying?
Correct.
Okay. So they would have to buy their content or start a new production company. I was kind of confused. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or mainly do sports and reality, which seems to be kind of the route they're leaning on heavily already. We saw that they canceled a lot of their scripted shows this last fall. Lucifer, Gotham's ending. A lot of those they've canceled or are ending. And they've bought rights to football and wrestling. So we can already see like large chunks of their schedule going to be overtaken by sports. Now, this week, they've announced 3 game show / variety / reality shows that they are going to be airing within the next year. And I'm actually kind of excited about one and a half of them.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm trying to think, and I can't think of any. You'll know because you're an expert. Have they had reality shows on that station before?
On Fox?
Yeah.
Oh, Fox back in the mid-2000s. That was what they kind of leaned on quite a bit. And they still have MasterChef and Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, those shows are on there. That's right. I forgot about those shows.
Grit, whatever that was called. But back in the they had the one Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire.
Oh, didn't they have Joe
Millionaire?
Yeah.
They had Mr. Personality, which was that Monica Lewinsky hosted dating show where all the men were in masks. We'll get to masks in a minute. Okay. And they did a bunch of like Greed was a long running game show on there.
Oh, yeah, I remember Greed now. Okay, yeah. Okay.
They did have a long history with that. So the first one is a game show called Spin the Wheel. Again, executive produced by Justin Timberlake. So him and Jessica Biel are all over producing things these days.
Well, they're terrible actors and actresses.
As long as we don't have to see them, I'm okay with that.
Stop singing your horrible songs, Justin Timberlake. Thank you.
So it sounds kind of like, yes, I agree. Especially his last album just was garbage.
I'm surprised this reality show isn't about how Britney cheated on him, since that's what he's made his career on. Anyway, carry on.
So it's a game show called Spin the Wheel, and there's a wheel and trivia questions and wedges and cash and $20 million prize hosted by Dax Shepard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, his career's already done that he's moved on to game show hosting?
Oh, well, wait till you hear who's hosting the other show.
Okay.
So then there's another game show called Mental Samurai, which is supposed to be like Ninja Warrior, but with like brain teasers or something.
Oh, so they can do like puzzles or riddles or something?
Yeah, but I think there's a physical element to it. I'm not really sure, but I'm fascinated by it.
Basically a show you and I could not compete on.
Yes. And are you ready for this? Hosted by Rob Lowe.
Well, I'm not surprised. He's been like game show material for years.
Well, he's been in shows. They just
I mean, he's had a successful career. He's just like that kind of schmarmy kind of guy.
But I feel like Dax Shepard can do that schmarminess too.
Yeah.
Smarminess, yeah. And then the one that I'm looking forward to the most, which is premiering in January, I believe they may have filmed it already. It's called The Masked Singer. And it is taken from a South Korean format. And what it is you've got a panel of judges, which I will say is the weakest part of this so far. It's hosted by Nick Cannon, who I do not like.
Yeah.
And then the judges, I only like one of the 4 judges. The judges are Robin Thicke.
Ew.
Nicole Scherzinger.
Ew.
Jenny McCarthy.
Ew.
And the one I don't mind randomly, Ken Jeong.
Okay. This show sounds like Let's All Get Herpes.
So what there is they've got a grouping of celebrities. I don't know how many there are total, but there's going to be celebrities that perform every week, and they will sing every single week, except the twist is that they're wearing masks and full costumes, so you have no idea who these celebrities are.
So like essentially you could have, say, like Barack Obama under there.
Or somebody, yeah, possible. Fox, apparently, I think they may have filmed it already, because they're like, oh, yeah, we have the celebrities that are appearing on our show. They have 65 Grammy nominations, 16 platinum albums, 9 Broadway shows, 4 stars on
the actual singers. I think it would be better for
titles.
Singers.
It looks like it's a mix, because they said Super Bowl title, so it looks like it's a mix of like actors, celebrities, athletes, and actual singers. And so they're going to
good, except for those horrible judges and hosts.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I really like the format, but I do not like that judging and host panel at all. So
my dream contestant is Gilbert Gottfried.
That would be amazing. That would be great. So every week, one singer will be eliminated, and then once they're eliminated, that's when they take off their costume and reveal who they were the whole time.
Or my other dream contestant is what the hell's her name? Allison Hannigan. If you guys remember from the sing-along version, the musical version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, she did not sing. She says, "I'm mostly filler."
Yes, I was saying, like her one line was, "This line's mostly filler." I think the one person worse than her was Dawn.
Oh, God. Everything that could just be for any statement about the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The only thing worse was Dawn.
Surprised Allison Hannigan showed up that week. Well, I guess she had to be sung sexily to Tara from Tara.
Oh my God, I was drinking water when you said that. I almost died.
Staring at the hotness of you, doofus. So this week, Hulu greenlit a comedy called Shrill, starring Aidy Bryant.
Oh, yes. I love Aidy. She better stay on Saturday Night Live.
It sounds like at this point, I think it's 8 episodes. The filming of it should not interfere with her Saturday Night Live. But the reality is when they sign, they get 6 or 7 year contracts.
Yeah.
And this might be her last year on her contract.
Yeah, she has been on a while. And I mean, she's been doing some small parts in movies and stuff. I mean, her name recognition is going up. She's gotten Emmy nominations. You know, it wouldn't be surprising to me if she does leave. I don't want her to because I love her.
She's the best part of the show, but I was so happy to see she actually got an acting Emmy nomination this year. She got one previously for music, I think for the Doing It on My Twin Bed song.
Yeah.
But it was, so it doesn't sound like a great show, but I'm going to watch it for Aidy. I have to watch it.
For sure. I watch anything Aidy Bryant was in.
Yeah, 100%. So that should be pretty good. Did you end up watching all of season 2 of Timeless?
Yes.
Yes. How was season 2 of Timeless?
It's okay.
It was okay.
But the same. I mean, it was the same consistency, the same quality as the first season. I liked it. I'd watch season 3, but
I want to catch up on it. I watched episode 1 and I was confused. I was so confused by episode 1 in season 2 that I just never kept up with it. Well, that's a funny story. Is you had season 1 air on NBC, and they're like, "Sorry, we canceled you." And apparently there was an outpouring of support for the show. Like 2 days later, or they went
back in time and changed the executive's mind.
2 days later, they're like, "Okay, we'll give you a second season." So season 2 aired this spring. The numbers weren't great, so they canceled it. A few weeks later, they're like, "We're giving you a 2-hour series finale movie."
Oh, yay!
So they are giving Timeless a wrap-up movie, which
yeah, because it did end on a cliffhanger. I won't say the cliffhanger because you haven't watched it, but I did. It did end on a fairly large cliffhanger, so I'm glad we'll have some sort of resolution.
So there will be, yeah, there will definitely be a resolution to Timeless, and they'll know that this most likely is their final chance. But it's funny that the show's been canceled twice and only obviously renewed once, but given that chance to wrap up.
A little bit of life support, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that seems to be a big trend right now, is canceling shows and at least letting them get the chance to wrap up with a movie. We saw that with Sense8. We're seeing that with Timeless. There's a possibility for something like a Kimmy Schmidt to do that. So I think it's kind of nice.
Frequency, which I think only you and I watched anyway, they had their little 5-minute, 10-minute webisode that gave you the wrap up, which was nice too.
Yeah, I think it's really good because when you just leave people hanging and you never know how a show ends.
Yeah, you're loyal fans, especially when you might have a small following, but those are the people that are probably the most devoted because they have been watching,
Yeah, you want to have that wrap up. You want to have something. And I mean, it's still ballsy for shows these days to go out on cliffhangers.
Yeah.
You never know if you're coming back.
I'm still, like, honestly, and I know this, I say this every time, but I'm still really angry over the Angel finale.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always had hoped that there would be some sort of movie or something to follow, like a TV movie or something. And we never got that. We never got a resolution. And I don't read the graphic novels or comic books. So yeah, I'm angry at that still.
I really didn't like that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. As I would have definitely, as a fan, you want that resolution. You want things.
That was an FU to the company, the production, but that was more of a really screw you to the fans because we were devoted fans.
Yeah, in the end, I think that the fans are the ones that suffer the most, and they just want equality. Apparently, Quantico ended this week. No idea how it ended, but it ended.
Let me guess, Alex had messy, beautiful hair.
Probably. She met a former boy bander. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'll happen probably sometime next year. Will be the finale to Timeless. So good for NBC to at least.
Thanks, NBC. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So we are getting 911 is coming back soon.
Yes. I'm excited. I mean, I know Jennifer Love Hewitt is joining the cast, but I'm still excited.
Yeah, apparently Jennifer Love Hewitt's joining the cast, which we talked about. I just saw a picture of her in the 911 room, which, and they're going to start it off with like a giant earthquake.
Oh yeah, I saw the promo.
September 23rd.
The effects are amazing.
The sad thing is right now is apparently there are absolutely no plans for Connie Britton, a.k.a. Raina James, a.k.a. whatever her 911 name is. Abby.
Yeah, it was Abby.
Abby Clark, for her to appear at all in the show, which is sad.
You know what I'll say? Jennifer Love Hewitt's hair will never be as shiny as Raina James's hair. So that's it.
So are you saying Raina James and Alex from Quantico need to have a hair off?
Oh, you know what? For a woman of her age, because I know that, Connie Britton is, in her 50s now?
Yes.
She got some beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, her hair's great. Always looks good.
Yeah,
Alex from Quantico has great hair. Absolutely. But I'm just for a woman that age, her hair's beautiful. I wish my hair looked half as good.
That's why I said they should have a hair off.
They should.
2 more quick stories. It looks like Jessica Lange is coming back for an episode of American Horror Story this coming season.
Yes, I saw that.
It's really good. It just sounds like it'll be one episode. She'll be playing, I think she's playing her murder house role of Constance.
Constance, okay. That's what would make sense because it's dealing with the child, the Antichrist child that Connie Britton gave birth to on the show.
Yes. Now are her and Dylan McDermott showing up as ghosts at all? I don't know.
I hope we would get at least one little, even if it's like a one scene or a one episode kind of thing for all the people from Murder House, like Tate and not Tate. What was his name on the show? Was it Tate?
No, Tate. No, it was Tate because it was Kit Kit, Bobette, Banana Fan.
Yes, okay, yeah. So Tate and Violet and the other ghosts in the house. Even if we saw a little quick of Zachary Quinto and all those people, I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Now we are gonna see Evan Peters definitely in the new season, and I think the girl who plays Violet is in it too.
Okay, so there's
But
a good
I
chance we'll see them.
don't think they're necessarily playing their murder house roles. I think Violet's playing her coven role, and Evan Peters is playing some other role, I think. But then I also
crazy character he's been playing lately.
That Sarah Paulson's apparently doing 3 characters. So apparently she's both her coven character, her murder house character, and a 3rd character.
So the psychic,
yeah,
the witch, the Supreme, because she was the Supreme at the end of Coven.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, spoiler!
It sounds like she's going to be the Supreme at the beginning of when the season starts.
I mean, who's to say that the Antichrist guy, the kid, is still living next door to the murder house, right? I mean, it's in the future, so he could be anywhere.
And it sounds like he's an adult now because they announced who was playing that.
It's like a man at least in his early 20s.
Yeah. And FX renewed Horror Story for a 10th season.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, especially with Ryan Murphy now doing all the Netflix stuff. And I know that production on his first Netflix show, which is that weird one with the musical with Barbara Streisand, I think is now filming.
Okay. Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
But yeah,
he's got so many shows going on. He's got Pose, and he has that Versace OJ show,
and he does 911, right?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, that's why Connie Brennan was on. It was as a favor to Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
Well, Versace's over, and I think they announced that the Diana Charles one is not happening.
Yeah, the Hurricane Katrina never happened.
Katrina never happened, exactly. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I never got into Pose. That looked boring to me.
I haven't watched even one episode.
Yeah, I didn't make it very far in Versace.
Yeah, I think I watched 2 episodes and I was done.
There's only so much Darren Criss I can take.
Exactly.
And it's not a lot.
And I'm very upset he got an Emmy nomination because I hate him.
Apparently, though, he was very good, but I do not like him either.
You know, the parts I saw, he did do a good job. I just don't like him.
Yeah. So the last story that we're going to talk about is it seems like CBS All Access is going all in on Star Trek. We got Star Trek Discovery. And then there was rumors where Kurtzman, who I guess was one of the people behind Discovery, they want him to do like a whole Star Trek universe to All Access. So we are going to be getting a series about Captain Picard starring Patrick Stewart.
Yay!
Which is kind of crazy.
I mean, look, I grew up and my dad would watch Star Trek sometimes. We weren't like crazy followers of Star Trek. But when Next Generation came along, I was obsessed and I watched every episode. So I'm okay with Picard coming back.
Yeah. I wonder how much like leg pulling I got to get Patrick Stewart. Because I mean, he's not a spring chicken.
No, and I mean, he doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean? He's not desperate for money. This guy's got a real career still.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious how they got him to return.
He's going to be too busy to do his Instagram posts with, what's his name? Magneto.
Yeah. Magneto and Picard, or Professor X.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of interesting. More Discovery is coming in 2019. And and then I don't know when this series is going to happen, but it seems like CBS All Access just really wants those subscribers. So they're really going all in on a new Star Trek.
Well, you know, Discovery was no cheaply made show. Like when you compare that to Next Generation, you know.
Yeah, you were saying
it was fantastic.
That they put money into.
Oh, yeah, the special effects, the costuming. Yeah, it was really, really beautifully made.
And they're bringing Captain Pike into season 2, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's what I've read. Is that he's coming to? So it'll be interesting to see. I guess the Star Trek on All Access, because beyond the good fight, you don't hear anybody else talking about any of the originals that have aired on All Access.
I didn't realize the Good Fight was not on TV.
The Good Fight is an All Access show.
I don't watch The Good Wife or The Good Fight.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, so it's interesting.
Okay.
Where that's going. Okay, so that's the news for this week. Let's go ahead and talk about a couple shows. The first one we're going to start off is a reality show that began this week on NBC, and it is called Making It.
Yeah.
And Making It is NBC's answer of trying to combat the popularity of the Great British Bake Off, or the Great British Baking Show, which is what we've got here. Because it is
the Great American Craft Off.
It pretty much is what it is. It's the baking show, but with crafting and woodworking.
Almost the same set design.
Everything is identical.
Station set up, except they get to leave to go do woodworking, which you don't really do on the Bake Off.
No, that's true. I mean, it's very like, instead of 3 challenges, you got 2 challenges, but it is very similar to the point where like it almost feels a little too familiar right off the bat in episode 1. Yeah,
I was kind of expecting Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood to walk in.
I would have liked to have seen Mary Berry judge quilts.
Yeah.
That would have been okay.
Well, it's hosted by Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman.
Yes.
Who I think have a great chemistry. And
they have really good chemistry.
And I'm going to assume that the contestants did not know they were the judges because they nearly shit their pants when they walked in. Did you notice that?
Yes. I don't know, though, because it was known for a while that they were doing a crafting show, because they're also the creators and producers of it, too.
Yeah, maybe they just assumed that they would be producers and not be
on air talent. That's true.
Or maybe they knew Nick was there, and maybe not Amy, because I felt like the reaction to Amy was a little more.
Yeah.
Lost my mind.
And also, like, you could be like, oh, you'll be in the same room as Amy Poehler, but you don't really get the feeling about it until you actually see her in front of you.
Well, on America's Next Top Model, everybody knew Tyra would be there, and the girls still lost their shit. So, I mean, I guess.
So either way, but you're right. Maybe they didn't realize that they'd be on air talent.
It just seems so surprised to me.
Yeah. And so you get the 2 hosts, you got the 2 judges. I mean, it's the same format that we've seen.
They walk around and ask you the questions. What are you doing? What's your background?
What's your sob story?
Okay, so, you know what? I just have to say, I did not expect to be emotionally devastated by this show like I was.
Now,
I don't know if it's PMS.
Were you devastated by that guy's story? That's the only thing I remember about the show was that guy's story.
Well, it lubed up the tears with the lady, and it's such a horrible, kitschy thing to say, and you're going to laugh at me. But when the girl was doing her pictures, and she said, I put my kids at the bottom because I love them from the bottom of my heart, that made me tear up. I'm like, that's beautiful, right? And then I immediately thought I should make a craft like that. And then they went on to this guy, and let me tell you, oh my God. So there's this guy, and he's he's out of the closet, gay guy.
His name is
Jeffrey, and he was talking about how his parents, he rejected him for being gay, and they were so horrible to him. They sent him a black like wreath of in mourning, saying like, sorry for the loss of our son or some shit like that. That's how horrible his parents were.
Horrible. That's like that's so I don't know.
That literally, I cried and I had that big lump in my throat, and I was like, this guy must win.
It was just that's such a horrible story.
Yeah, it was really bad.
I mean, it kind of makes me wonder maybe how long ago that was, because he's not a young guy.
No, he looks to be probably in his 50s? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
He's 54.
Okay, yeah, I didn't want to overage him because, But, yeah, and so, I mean, if he came out was even in his 20s, that's only 30 years ago. That was the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, there is more acceptance now. I mean, 80s, I think, was still... But, I mean, there are still people today that, I mean, for all we know, the story could have happened a week ago. I mean, I think there are still, especially with an older generation, where that could still happen. But, yeah, I thought that story was insane.
Before he even told his story, he was talking about his photos. So this guy takes pictures when he says one of his things that he does, he takes a photo of a picture. So say I took a picture of Justin. Then he takes a picture of the sky on the same day so that he has he's like, because it's such a beautiful thing, to have what the sky was like that day. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I was like, oh my God. And I got chills and I thought that's beautiful. And then he tells this horrible story because the whole thing was to do like family heirlooms. And he's like, I don't have any family heirlooms or even a family. And I was like, geez, Louise, show.
Way to go from like a high to like boom.
A nice, light, fluffy show. Amy making her little jokes to Jesus, I need some therapy and a shot of freaking bourbon.
Give us to a shot of another scripted Nick Amy filmed after the series joke, please.
Exactly.
Those seemed a little forced, but I needed that at that time.
Yeah, I really did.
So the first challenge, they had to build some sort of like craft based on like a spirit animal of their choosing.
Yeah, like their inner animal. And it had to be like 3D. So you couldn't just like draw a picture of a Mexican jumping bean. I don't know why that came to mind.
So the two that came to mind was three that came to mind was the lady who just like glued who just glued garbage to an owl.
Gemma?
Gemma just glued stuff to an owl and it looked like garbage.
It really looked like something I could have made.
Me too. And then the empty turtle shell.
You know what? I will say this about the turtle shell. So this guy did a tortoise shell, and he carved it out of a piece of wood. It was beautiful and it looked real, but it was, there wasn't much to it. There's no animal to it, just the shell.
It was just the shell. It was just the shell. But
it looks realistic.
The one that made me angry was the guy that won. Because they're like, what's your animal? He's like, my animal is the human, and I'm making a puppet theater.
I loved it.
Yeah, it looked cool, but I thought it was weak, and they gave him the win. I thought it was weak. The concept was weak by making
my favorite one ended up being, I thought it was going to be a mess when she was making it. Because when they showed her partway through, I thought, oh my God, this thing is not going to be finished. Was the rabbit. Because it just looked like 7 strands of hair were stuck on this balloon. And I'm like, this is going to be so bad. But it looked amazing after.
Yeah.
It looked like it was like some bald alopecia rabbit while she's making. I'm like, she's not going to be done.
Yeah, that turned out pretty good. But nothing was as bad as that owl. That owl. If you got something on the show that looks like either of us could have made it, you deserve, you should not be there. And then the second round, they had to build a build a quilt.
A quilt and a non-traditional family album.
Yeah.
So they had two things they had to make.
And you had the judges. I feel like I've seen that Simon guy somewhere, and I don't know what I've seen him on.
He didn't look familiar to me.
And then you had that lady who was with Etsy, and she would let you know she was with Etsy.
Oh yeah, she's a trend finder.
And like apparently we had to hear the word Etsy every 3 seconds.
It's probably in her contract to drop Etsy.
To Etsy. And then what I find funny is like when you look at the 8 contestants, I do the same thing with like the baking show. You see these people, you're like, oh, they look like they're gonna be a baker, they're gonna go far. And I always say that to like the old women, and they're always like the first or second one gone. Same thing with Gemma here. Oh, it looks like she's been crafting for years. First one eliminated.
Yeah.
But she should have gone home based on the owl solely.
Oh, yeah. I felt bad, though, that she was cutting up those pillowcases. I was like, don't do it, lady.
Oh, yeah.
And her thing, so she took embroidery looms, the circle things that you put your embroidery on, and she cut out her grandmother or great-grandmother's pillowcases, the pattern on it, and hung them up in these looms in like a grid pattern, but she didn't finish, and it just looked horrible. It did not look cute at all. Yeah, I was surprised by a lot of these quilts. I know they had to do like a quilt of any kind, but I really thought I was going to see a lot more type of blankets, and there was really only 2 that were kind of blanketish.
Mm-hmm.
The Boz one, which was hysterical. This guy literally did one based on that video game with Brian Bosworth, the football player, on it. It was amazing. I'm like, this guy is Bosworth. He's so straight but kind of gay at the same time.
I thought that was absolutely bizarre because I remember I was in Seattle when Brian Bosworth was playing for the Seahawks, so I kind of remember him being like the bad boy of football, and so just the fact to see someone making the Bosworth quilt was hilarious.
It was so weird. It was like something my husband would have come up with. It's so weird. But it was a good show. I liked that wooden one that the guy did. That was like he made it like an arch. It was supposed to be like laying over like a display thing. It was like incredible. And the one that the girl did with the one that had the bottom of my heart. She made like a heart-shaped pattern on the wall, and it was beautiful. And then she had this like geode looking thing that opened up like a box, and it was really cute too.
So would you stick with it?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I surprisingly loved it. When the girl won the master patch, I cried again.
Oh, when yeah, I do like that.
When Gemma left, I cried again.
I like that they hand out patches to the winners.
Yeah, so we'll see if next week, if I'm not PMSing, if I cry when I watch it.
I don't know. It had a hard time keeping my attention. I feel like I need to rewatch episode 1.
I'm surprised you didn't like. Maybe because you don't like crafts and you prefer cooking.
Yeah, I prefer. Well, I can't do either. But I think at least
you prefer eating.
Yes, at least I can look at desserts and be like, oh my god, that looks good. I want to eat that macaron right now.
Yeah.
And I don't have that same connection with crafting. But I don't know. I have to give it another try.
I feel like when you watch a cooking show, even if you're not a baker, you feel like, oh my gosh, I've been there. Like I've mixed too much of this into something I've made before. Everybody's cooked something, right? And even you have baked things. So I mean, I guess that feeling of, oh my God, did I put the right amount of baking soda in, or whatever the thing is, you can kind of relate to those things.
Yeah. And the closest I get to crafting is making things at work.
Yeah, which turned out usually pretty good. I've seen pictures.
Which actually don't turn out that bad. And they don't turn out that bad when I actually have to freehand stuff. Yeah, but I don't know. I'll have to rewatch episode 1, give it another shot.
You should do a craft of the shadow puppet things. It was cool.
Yeah, but it was interesting, and I do like Amy and Nick. I'm not a fan of their like scripted. Little joking things that they do, like
I prefer what comes off the cuff while they're like standing at the tables and stuff.
Yeah, but they're both charming, and you're right, they have great chemistry and friendship, and so it's a lot of
I did like where he was smelling the wood and then he was tasting the wood. That was fun.
It's like, that one's tasteless or smellless or whatever that one was. But no, it should be good. Yeah, I doubt there'll be a lot of episodes just because there's 8 contestants, but it's kind of nice seeing the networks try shows like these. Because we have, especially the last couple summers, we haven't gotten a lot of fun, like mindless reality game shows. So yeah, thanks NBC.
Give it a try. Yeah.
So I finally have started watching HBO's Sharp Objects, which is having episode 5 of 8 tonight. It's a limited series based on the, I never know if her name is Gillian or Gillian. Gillian Flynn?
I would say Gillian.
I think it's Gillian. It's G. When you have that G, it's always confusing.
It's Gillian, I think.
I think it's Gillian. I think
I knew a girl named Gillian whose name was the G, so I'm going to say Gillian.
I know a Gillian whose name was the G.
Oh, really? I never heard anybody with the name Gillian. That's why I was like, it's Jillian.
I did in high school, which is why it's confusing to me, but I think it's Jillian.
Well, your friend was the weirdo.
Apparently she was. And and this is a book, or it's based on a book from the same author that wrote Gone Girl. And it is a limited series on HBO. The showrunner was one of the producers of Buffy back when that was on. I think she also did season 1 of Unreal. And it stars Amy Adams. And I love Amy Adams. I kind of prefer when she's a little more of her like innocent and goofy light, but she's good at everything she does. And it's a pretty good show so far. What do you think of Sharp Objects? Yeah,
so she's a journalist. Some girls go missing and are murdered in her hometown. So she's sent back to her.
Yeah, 2 have gone missing, and 1 of them has turned up murdered at the beginning by the time the show starts.
So she goes back to her hometown. We get obviously she left her small hometown for a reason. We're getting a lot of flashbacks that haven't come together. We learned that her little sister died when they were young girls. We don't know which exact age, but young girls. Something happened to her as a teenager. She does a lot of, self-harm. And we're not just talking about like, some nick. She's carving horrible words into her body. And
definitely have issues.
she has I can't even say strained relationship with her mother, her stepfather, and her half sister that was born after I guess she left, because she doesn't know her very well.
She doesn't know her at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is the show of me not recognizing actors.
I recognize so many actors.
I did not realize I have to see his character again. I did not recognize Luke Wheeler for whatever reason.
Oh my God, really?
I didn't realize that was Luke Wheeler.
Okay.
I didn't realize at first that her stepfather is Revenge guy.
Daddy Grayson.
Daddy Grayson. And it's funny because we mentioned her last night when we were talking. But when I was watching the very beginning and they showed young Amy Adams, I was like, oh, that kind of looks like Bev from It. Well, it was Bev from It.
Yes.
And what's funny is when everybody was talking about casting for
the It
Chapter 2 of It, the sequel for It, everyone's like, oh, Amy Adams should be adult Bev. Amy Adams should be. And now I'm like, yes, she should be adult Bev because she looks a lot like
she
Amy
looks
Adams.
And even kind of has that same sort of deepish voice that Amy Adams has. I think she's the perfect Amy Adams. And I still don't think. I was like, Jessica Chastain. And I'm like, no, it should have been Amy Adams.
I think Jessica Chastain's okay, but now that I'm seeing this, it should have been Amy Adams.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if they got like the same kind of wide-eyed thing too going on, and she really does. But yeah, the whole time I'm like, oh, she's even got that same short hair that Bev does in the second half of It.
Yeah, and the Italian cop guy. That's he's from the Minty Project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and even the you probably wouldn't have recognized her. The girl that was in the mental hospital with Amy Adams' character.
Yeah.
She was from oh, you do know her. That's the girl from Everything Sucks. The actress girl with the blonde hair.
Oh,
and she was just on The Handmaid's Tale this season too. Yeah.
I didn't know that was
very different. Yeah. I watched the whole season of Handmaid's Tale, and I watched her in that episode of Sharp Objects, and it wasn't until because I recognized her, I'm like, oh, that's the girl from Handmaid's Tale. It wasn't until I went and looked to see what she was in. I'm like, oh my God, that's her from Everything Sucks.
I mean, I can kind of see it in the eyes now.
Yeah, the mouth too. Very big mouth. Yeah.
But oh wow, that's a lot. And the non-Caroline Ray aunt from Sabrina was in an episode. That lady from Weeds, right?
No,
she's not.
You talking about the drunk lady?
Oh, that's not Weeds?
No, that's the other one, the one from Big. The one that takes Tom Hanks' virginity in Big.
Oh, okay. I always get her confused with
Elizabeth Perkins. Yeah.
I always get her confused with.
They're similar looking. Yeah.
I think she's involved somehow. The drunk lady.
Yeah, I don't know. And then you always got these teenage girls just skating around the town, roller skating around,
including her half sister.
Her little sister. Yeah.
Because that half sister is weird. Something's going on with that too.
My theory, and I have not read any spoilers about the book or anything, my theory is her and her friends are the killers.
Oh, I like that. I had a theory, and I went online and I saw it's not true. I kind of almost thought Amy Adams was her mom.
Oh, that would have made sense because I have, from the flashbacks, I'm thinking maybe the football players raped her as a teenager.
Yes.
Which led to the self-harm. That would make sense. She could have been the mom. That was a good theory. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. It sounds like I think the rape stuff I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that. But that was kind of my thinking the whole time. Was like, I think that might be her daughter. But it's weird because when she's at home, she has to be this like prim, proper, like almost doll type.
Yeah, like she has to wear dresses and sweaters and her hair's back. And, you see her on the street, she's wearing halter tops and short shorts.
And roller skates.
Yeah, always roller skates.
She's always drunk.
Drinking or smoking weed or something, yeah.
Yeah, and even because
drinking runs in the family, so
yes, her character popped up several times before we even knew who she was.
Yeah, but because I remember she'd mentioned her sister, and when I saw those girls and she was talking to her, I'm like, one of those girls is her sister.
Good call.
Yeah,
and then the mom character played by Patricia Clarkson. I don't like her at all.
She's insane.
She's crazy. And she doesn't like the fact that her daughter, the Amy Adams character, is there trying to pretty much interrogate people trying to solve these crimes.
Yeah. Because you're talking about a small town, and like small towns, they'll talk amongst themselves, but they don't want the outside world knowing their business, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the problem that the one detective guy is having, because he is an outsider. He's not from the town. And in the first episode, Amy Adams comes by and goes to the place and where they discover the second dead girl's body.
Yeah, she kind of was there at the same time it was discovered. They hear a scream and they go over and everybody sees the body at the same time.
Yeah, so right now they think that, I feel like the father, which is Luke Wheeler of the first dead girl, seems to be a suspect that they're trying to talk to. The older brother of the second girl.
The only evidence they have against Luke Wheeler's character is that he's poor white trash.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then the older brother of Natalie, which is the second girl, found dead. They think that a lot of people think that he's a suspect and that he may have done it, and Amy Adams doesn't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think.
Oh, no.
I could see his cheerleader girlfriend being the killer before I saw him.
There's something up with her. I thought it was kind of weird that she would wear her cheerleading outfit so that when she was interviewing,
summer, and she's really controlling and answering for him.
And I never trust characters, but I never trust cheerleaders. But when we meet characters, especially when they're when our main character is kind of like an outcast of some sort, and kind of people are looking, and then you get the super nice person. I never trust that super nice person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she went right up to Amy Adams.
She's like, she's a fake.
Yeah. And she's like, I can get you access to my boyfriend. We can do this. And it's just, I immediately don't trust those type of people.
Yeah.
And because most of the time they turn out not being on the side of our main character.
Well, they've got, ulterior motives. They're up to something.
Yeah. So I curious to see what she's up to. I'm not completely up to date on the series. I'm about halfway through the most current episode, with episode 4, and there's gonna be 4 more, 8 episodes this season. But I like the chemistry between her and the detective.
Yeah, it's good. It's not the fastest paced show. The flashback scenes can be a little confusing, but it's different and it is interesting. Give it a chance. It's good.
It's not super slow paced, because I get impatient with super slow. I'm not completely, but I was confused. Maybe I looked away, but I was confused when they did the flashbacks to her checking herself into the mental hospital and meeting Alice.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, what just happened?
That was happening. I was a little confused too, because I was like, is this just happening right now? And then I realized I guess it's just maybe just because her boss keeps mentioning how she just came back. So I guess this is like, just a few months before what's happening.
Yeah, presently. And she's seeing that Alice girl.
Yeah, around the town and ghost
insights. Yeah, because they were roommates and they became friends as they were roommates. And Alice committed suicide and caused Amy Adams to slit her wrists some more. So she's definitely not in the best place mentally. No. And I don't think she's ever not drunk.
No, she drinks a lot. She's like literally just hanging on by a thread, suicide wise. Like she could tumble at any minute. And I think that we could possibly see something like if something really horrible happens, or she's, some secret comes out, or I think we'll see a really, bloody Amy Adams scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're halfway through the series already, which is crazy. HBO is ready to come out and they're like, we are not going to Big Little Lies us. This is what you get. You're going to get 8 episodes.
I think we're going to have a resolution at the end, and that's all we'll need.
And that's it. We don't need things to be continued, whether they should not be continued. 13 Reasons Why Big Little Lies.
Yeah.
But I'm interested. I kind of want to know what's going on with the murder. So do you have any theories right now?
Just I think the sisters did it. The girls did. 3 girls. I think maybe they're bullies and those girls were weird, or maybe they were lesbians, or who knows? Maybe the blonde sister is the lesbian and she came onto them and they rejected her. I don't know. Or maybe they're just evil, vicious bitches and killed. Because it's not like things like that haven't happened.
Elizabeth Perkins is from Weeds. She was that crazy neighbor lady, right?
Was she on that?
Married to Kevin Nealon.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of the main lady.
No.
Oh, okay. No. So she was in Weeds. I don't remember.
Yeah, she was in Weeds. Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. I just had to look that up because I was like, I know
I'm right. So, yeah. But she did take Tom Hanks's virginity.
Yeah, she was in Big also, and she was also in Flintstones apparently. Yeah. So. let's keep mentioning Flintstones today. And yeah, I don't know. I think something's up with her character, Jackie.
Jackie is, oh yeah, that's her.
Yeah, Elizabeth Perkins, yes. I think something's up with her.
She definitely is like, I feel like she knows everything in the town, all the dirt. Like, I think she's one of the few people that knows what happened to Amy Adams' character in the past. So maybe she does know.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, I definitely want to find out. I think, and I will get the finale later this month. But it's been interesting so far. And I like that originally they wanted to make this into a movie. I feel like an 8-episode series is probably the smart
maybe get a little more in depth into the emotions and stuff. Yeah.
So our annual or our weekly, let's quickly talk the last 5 minutes about Castle Rock.
Yes. Now, Sister Patty is listening, and she hasn't watched Castle Rock yet. But I mean, episode 1's not going to give her really any real spoilers, so we can talk about it.
Oh, we talked about episode 1 last week.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about episode 4.
Oh. Well, Sister Patty, turn us off now. We're going to spoil.
Bye, Sister Patty. Thanks for listening.
Okay, let's talk about episode 4.
I thought it was a really boring episode till the end, and then my jaw was dropped at the end, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, it kind of was one of those draggy episodes. Not much was happening.
Until the end. So,
go ahead. Go.
Well, we get more of Henry, right? Henry, and we get more of like his possible past, and the cop that saw him in the river, or sorry, on the frozen lake, he thinks he has evidence from his dad that he did push him down and did help lead.
Yeah, because remember, Henry cannot remember anything from not just those days, but I think most of his past before that stuff happened. So he's always, the town has always assumed he did it, but he's always like, I didn't do that. And then the cop says to him while he's, out fixing a fence, like, your daddy told me Henry did it.
And you know what? I think he did it.
I think he probably did too. Now, was he in control of himself? We don't know yet.
We don't know, because I feel like that's a question I have on the end is a control issue. Are people in control of their actions? Was John Locke in control of his action when he killed himself?
Yeah.
And so the whole time Henry's setting up to like go to court to help get
the kid. He doesn't even have a character name. Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård, the kid, free. He wasn't even like. It's weird that he's still stuck in that jail because he was never really sentenced, and there's no.
They have no record of him. Yeah. There's no paperwork, but he's being kept in a jail after they found him locked up in a cage.
And Henry's and Henry's been talking with Mickey from Shameless, who's a prison guard there, and is really unhappy with how things are going.
The guards are quite abusive.
Yeah, so he kind of wants to be a whistleblower for Henry, and they're all setting this up, like, let's do this. And then when Henry, all of a sudden, when he has a conversation with the cop, and the cop is pretty much accusing him of doing that to his dad, he's like, I'm getting out of town.
He wants to leave. He can't
leave right away.
Yeah.
So he called Mickey, left a message, and he's like, this isn't going to happen. We're not going to go to, I'm going to go over there. We're going to sign the deal. And then we're done. And meanwhile, throughout the episode, Mickey, like, what was up with him? He had the Sharpie and he like drew a smiley face.
The girl kept telling him to smile. He's miserable at his job. It's a horrible job. It's the only real job to get in Castle Rock. And every time he takes over to go watch the security monitors, the girl he takes over from is like makes a joke about him smiling.
Yeah.
And so he starts taking, a marker and drawing smiley faces on the screens of the monitors.
And then at the end, he's watching the monitors, and there's
a bunch of abuses happening. 3-4 different abuses happening.
3-4 abuses happening. So he grabs the marker, he makes X's on them, he grabs a gun, and through what I thought was kind of cool is mainly through the cameras, we see him going and we see him shooting. Is it mainly the guards he's shooting?
He doesn't shoot any prisoners.
Yeah,
you see him avoid prisoners and prisoners running because they're scared, obviously. Yeah. But no, he doesn't kill any prisoners. But I thought that scene mirrored the scene where remember he imagines Bill Skarsgård getting out and you see all the dead guards on the ground.
Yes.
I would like to see that scene again and see if they're in the same places.
Yeah, I kind of had flashbacks to that too.
Yeah.
And because it ended up, he kind of imagined that. But now that you're right, it did kind of mirror that. And so he shoots all the guards, and then he goes to like the office, and Henry happens to be there. And we see the, I don't know, the cops or whoever they are finally coming
like a
in.
SWAT team. Yeah.
SWAT team throwing some sort of like
smoke bomb of
some sort, and then shooting Mickey presumably dead in the head.
It looked like a bullet wound in his head, so I'm gonna think he's not coming back. But it is Castle Rock, so.
And like I said, I was so bored throughout most of this episode, but that last scene, like, I thought was really interesting, and that brought up the point of that I was having, was he in control of himself, or was it to the point where he knew that he didn't have Henry's support that with the court case, and he just snapped,
couldn't deal with it anymore, seeing the abuses? Or was it, I mean, that weird look that the kid gives him when he thinks he sees him in the camera in the hallways? Maybe something was implanted. Who knows? We don't know. That was a good scene. I really enjoyed it. But my favorite scene actually was when the warden's assistant goes in and he's talking to the kid about how he was in Iraq and how he was a torturer and he made people snap and give all the information. And, you know, he's being all tough, and Bill Skarsgård's kind of just on the ground cowering. And then suddenly he stands up and he's saying some sort of like, it sounded like a Bible quote. I don't know if it was, but it was very religious seeming. And that's all he says. And he walks towards the guy, and the guy just backs right out of the room. And he's like looking like he's about to piss his pants. I loved that scene. And
yeah, that was good. That was good too.
And then my other scene that I liked, I liked when Henry Deaver went to that weird house out in the woods.
Yes.
And he found that shed with a lock on it and like a little food bowl in there. And then the guy comes home. He's like, "Come on in." And I'm like, "Don't go in there." And then he's sitting on the bed, like in such a vulnerable position to get murdered. Like, don't do that.
My brother never lived here. I've always lived here. Because I think at one point that family was linked to possible disappearance of Henry.
Yes.
He was looking at the old newspaper articles.
Yeah. Now, do you have a theory about what's going on?
It can't be this obvious because it was written out for us in episode 2, but just with Bill Skarsgård, the kid, being the devil of some sort and controlling everything. But that's as far as I can get. What's your theory?
I think they really want us to believe that Bill Skarsgård is like some sort of devil or antichrist.
Which makes me think he's not, because they want us to think that.
I think that's why I think it's Henry Deaver. And I think that Bill is supposed to be his opposite to stop him, but I don't know.
So he's like the angel, and
maybe, I don't know.
Possibly. But again, it's another one where they promised us that season 1 is a complete story. So
yeah.
So hopefully we will know by the end. But yeah, I think they're shoving in our face so much about Bill Skarsgård's being the devil that he can't be.
Yeah. I hope there's a point also to that pill popping lady that is obsessed with Henry Deaver, because I hate her and I want her to go away.
I don't like her story. Anytime she's on screen, I completely blank out.
Yeah. Yeah. And we didn't get any of what's her name?
Suburgatory?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more, because I feel like something's up with her too.
Yep.
I feel like something's up with all these people. Just like Sharp Objects, I don't trust anybody on any of these shows.
Trust no one.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess that's it. We'll wrap up. Probably we'll be back next week. Who knows? I may go away for the weekend. I don't know. But if we are, we'll be back. But otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow night at Monday at 6:30 p.m. And have a great week. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.